Hi, it's Gene Simmons. You're listening to Vieira Vault Podcast.
Grab a jam, let's see where this is down. It's my podcast. This guy's insane. Rock your brain. It's just a sound. Let's see Vieira Vault.
Well, all right, it's time for another Vieira Vault, and this is one that a lot of people have been waiting for, waiting to know what happened when I went to go to the Gene Simmons Vault experience. And, oh my God, I got a really great guest. His name is Dave O'Leary. And, oh man, wait till you hear his stories. He's awesome, man. And this is a random guy that I put a YouTube video saying I'm looking for people to do this show with me like a few days ago. And unfortunately, I wanted to get Sonny Pooney, but our schedules conflicted. And then somebody else I wanted to get, and our schedules conflicted. But luckily, this guy, his schedule didn't conflict. And I just did this episode, and man, this guy rules. And I want to have him on any future Kiss episode because he's great. He's great, and you will hear how great he is. But before we get into that, and I know a lot of people want to hear my Gene Simmons experience, especially you're going to love hearing it with Dave. I have to do what I always do. I read the reviews that I've gotten since the last episode. So if some of you don't want to hear it, just press forward, skip, while I say it, because I do have quite a few since my last one. And the first one here on iTunes, somebody wrote, much better than the Rock and Metal Combat Podcast. Can't stand that other guy. Well, I got to say, I agree with you, man. Ian does suck. Anyway, that was signed by Wadzilla. No. You rule, Wadzilla. No, actually, I knew it was you. Did you like my acting? Very De Niro-esque, wasn't it? Yeah, that was Ian that left that comment. And another one from Clemens 1974, Best of Both Worlds. I'm a huge fan of the Rock and Metal Combat Podcast, so I was very intrigued with Senor Vieira starting this show. I must say it's every bit as good as his other podcast. That said, I have only one gripe. Mr. Vieira is in 2 to 3 bands, hosts an internet radio show, does YouTube reviews, all that while working a day job. Well, actually, it's a night job. What the hell? Why can't people pick one thing and master that? Stay in your lane, Mr. Vieira. What's next? A cantina? Cantina. Your own tequila? No, I won't do that. I don't get it. Signed, Sammy Hagar. That was awesome. And, yeah. The reason why I have so many projects, because I'm a schizo. I mean, that makes sense, right? All right, and as I said, these are some Podbeam reviews that I've gotten that I can't read them all, man. It sucks, but I can't read them all, but and I can't even read the person that wrote it, but this one was written by somebody that said, really good episode, Ralph. This is about the Judas Priest Iron Maiden one, the last one I just did. And though I love the classic era of Maiden probably a little more, after I saw Priest in 2004, I have to say, because of Halford, Priest is the... And then it says view more, and I can't see what the rest of the things you write. So I know I should, some of you, you shouldn't be reading those, but I gotta, if you take the time to do a fucking Podbeam review, I'm gonna read it. And this is from the cool dude with the cowboy hat. He said, New Vieira Vault is like getting a new Van Halen album from between 74 to 84. Long live Vieira Vault. Dude, long live you, cowboy. You fucking rule, dude. I love your comments. And that was short. See, that's the thing. He left a short comment, and I got to read it all. I just don't know what his name is. Sorry. Somebody else on the Judas Priest Iron Maiden show said, funniest fucking episode, Dr. Fuck. The Major Mayhem is a funny fucking guy. Oh, Aaron Baker. See, Aaron knows what to do. He writes his name at the end of it. Thank you, Aaron. And yes, Major Mayhem fucking rules. If those that haven't heard the Judas Priest versus... Iron Maiden episode, I defy you to listen to that and not laugh. It is fucking hysterical. Well, and then we got these reviews, and this is where all the most reviews are on YouTube. And again, our resident YouTuber, Abby and Hannah's dad, wrote, when it comes to Priest versus Maiden, I'm going to agree 100% Priest is the more consistent of the two bands. I love a lot of Maiden stuff, even the stuff most hate. I love Dance to Death. But Priest really hasn't had a terrible album. Even the Ripper Owen stuff is way better than the Blaze Bayley Maiden stuff. Blaze was a little too out there for his vocal delivery style. It didn't mesh well with Maiden, in my opinion. Looking forward to seeing Priest if I can get a ticket here in South Carolina. Or is it South California? You put SOCAL. Now, if only Priest and Maiden would do a co-headline tour, I would be happy as a fucking clam. And then again, that would be too fucking long of a show, and I'm turning 50 in a couple weeks. Too old for the 6-hour show. No, you're not, Abby Hannah's dad. Well, yeah, maybe you are, because you're a dad. I know it takes a lot, man, to raise kids. Downfall Network, my good buddy Brody wrote, no knock to Ian and Terrence. This is the funniest podcast episode of all time. Well, thank you so much, Downfall. But, just a little advice, bro. If you don't want to knock Ian and Terrence, don't even mention them. Just write, this is the funniest podcast of all time. There's no need to mention them because it sounds like you are giving them a knock. I'm not, you know me, I usually attack you, but I'm not attacking you. I'm just giving you a word of advice. Hope you take it. This one, the Columbia controversy. Chuck H wrote, I was in a few bands, I think you meant. Mainly a drummer, but one band I sang for, and the band made a record and went on a U.S. tour. Long story short, when we got to the border of Canada from New York, they wanted $500 from me to enter the country. My band decided to leave me and the guitar in the campsite so they could play, then pick us up after like 12 days, and people at the campsite dropped us off at the Salvation Army. Damn, dude. That's fucking crazy. They took us to social service in Peru, New York. Our families hung up on us in front of the office workers, so each cut us enough to catch a Greyhound and eat something on our way home. It could have been way worse. I'm sure, but I'm glad you guys were real friends to each other. Kudos to you guys. Damn, Chuck H, that's a fucked up story, man. I thought I had problems in my band. Jesus Christ. I really don't think my band would do that to me. But it would be kind of lame if they did. They'd have to play instrumentally, right? Because I'm the singer. What a wild ride it's been. Chuck H wrote, you're a good dude, Ralphie. Keep up the good work. You fucking rule. Pretty inspiring, bro. By the way, maybe you might like the War album from U2. It's the only one I like from them. Hated them till I heard Seconds and New Year's Day. Those tracks are boss. Cool. And then he wrote on the Malcolm Young episode, R.I.P. Malcolm Young. I listened to this the day of. Thank you for doing such a great podcast for the man. Well, thank you for listening, dude. He also wrote on the top movie episodes. You should see Phantasm 2. It's rad. I will do that. And Zoo Nation on the Judas Priest one. How many shitty albums do you think each band has? Who has more shitty albums? Well, in my opinion, I would say Iron Maiden. The Judas Priest, I can count on one hand how many shitty albums they are. And with Maiden, I can count with my hands and toes. Chuck H on the top movie ones. He said, on the dark side, oh yeah, oh my God, I miss alcohol. Wow, he left a lot of comments on this one. Jason Goes to Hell reeks of putrefaction. Isn't that a Carcass album? Piranha 2, Gremlins 2 sucked, even though Angel of Death was used for a scene. The Howling sequels were awful as well. Then he wrote on, I don't know what episode this is. The worst thing about all this, never got to see AC/DC. I'm not worthy. And then he wrote, man, I can't see the name of these episodes. But another one he wrote, I hate Hagar, but I guess guilty pleasure. Love Van Halen enough to appreciate some 5150, but that's it. Fuck the rest of the Hagar era. Iron Maiden sounded weird with that other dude too. Glad Bruce came back eventually. And And then on the Judas Priest one, he said, "What the hell?" Laughed my ass off at that Diano impression. Yeah, that was Willie. Check out that episode. I'm telling you, man, it is a funny fucking episode. He also wrote on this one. This is all Chuck H, by the way. "Oh my God, Howard Stern's going to get mad at you if you finish the Vietnam bit. Maybe, though, I don't know. Sergeant Slaughter, dude, had me in stitches. Oh my God. By the way, have you heard a band called Pelican?" Yes, I have. "Or Floor?" No, I never heard of Floor. "I think they rock. Maybe you might, too. I might, maybe Requiem, Rex Quan Do or Major Mayhem might." And he just put ... The Stargazer on, I don't know what episode this is. "I remember the first time I heard Bathory, Countess Bathory by Venom, I said to myself, isn't that the exact same riff as Smell Like Teen Spirit?" Well, actually, Smell Like Teen Spirit is that riff. Just a bit hard to believe that Kurt Cobain liked Venom, but then again, I found out Kurt actually listened to Venom, Celtic Frost a lot during recording of Nevermind. A bit suspicious if you ask me. Anyway, another great podcast, Ralph. Well, thank you so much, Stargazer. And yes, I knew about Kurt Cobain being into Celtic Frost. I didn't know about Venom, but I heard, I forgot who said it, that he constantly played Celtic Frost on the tour bus during the In Utero tour, I believe. Judas Priest versus Iron Maiden. Parker Smichael wrote, "That was amazing. Laughed my ass off. Loved it. I think Judas Priest is the better band, but I have more nostalgia for Iron Maiden. If that makes any sense, I love the Major Mayhem guy. He is so funny. Take care, Ralph. You rock." And the Diano impression ruled. All right. Freeform Rock Podcast wrote, "Never been a Kiss nerd. I like Kiss, but I love when you and Wang discuss them. Fucking awesome. Love the REL Love. And man, that riff from Beat It is identical." Yeah, thank you so much. And I'm glad you're not a Kiss nerd, Mark. But you are a nerd. Chuck H. We're all nerds, okay? Just in different ways. Chuck H. Judas Priest. Up the irons, yo. The Paul Stanley, episode 2. Kim Mendingo wrote, "Great video, guys. Keep up the good work. Love listening to the stuff." And whatever episode this is. Another one talked about Lucifer's Friend, Ride in the Sky. Sounds like Immigrant Song. I guess that's the episode of Immigrant Song. That guy's called The Rush 420. Manson Hugh wrote on the same episode, "The Path I Choose by I Sir sounds a lot like 100,000 Years by Kiss." Oh, I gotta listen to that again. And the Judas Priest, the last one, "The Rush 420, listen at work, and Major Mayhem had me dying laughing. Great episode." Again, I can't stress enough about the Major Mayhem show. So, check it out, man. All right, so now we're going to go into my Gene Simmons experience. This just happened this past Saturday, and I'm recording this on Tuesday. So, and luckily, I got an amazing person, an amazing Kiss fan who I just met, and I feel like I'm his buddy. Like, we became like good friends on this episode. Check this episode out. I think it's great. What great chemistry me and this dude have, because we are both Kiss nerds. And after this, I will play the interview I did with Gene Simmons. So here I am with the great Dave O'Leary. Let's do this. All right, now it's what you all been waiting for, the Gene Simmons Vault Experience review. And I got with me Dave O'Leary. How you doing, Dave?
Good, brother. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. I pronounced your name right?
Yeah, you sure did.
All right, cool, man. So, yeah, I did a video on the Almost Human, and I said, hey, man, anybody that's been to the Vault, hit me up, and I'll have you on my show. And believe it or not, Dave, 3 different people hit me up, other than you, 4 different people. All of them had such conflicting, oh, I can't do it for 7 hours. I'm like, 7 hours, I got to go to work. Another guy, I can't do it till the weekend. I go, weekend ain't going to be around. You're the only one that's like, I'm home, let's do it. I'm like,
hey, man.
Fuck yeah.
Hey, man. Hey, you know what? Sometimes being last is in first, right? So I'll take it.
No, you weren't last. I was going to have us all together. I wanted to get 4 of us talking about it, but everybody's like so conflicted. You're the only one. I'm like, fuck it. Then it's just me and Dave, man.
Hey, man, I live my rock and roll, man. It's 24/7.
Fuck yeah, so do I, my brother. And
right.
what do you call it? So, when did you first become a Kiss fan?
Dude, I was living in California at the time. I was telling Gene about this when I saw him at the Vault, and shit, it was my 10th birthday. So, I'm 53 now, so you can do the math.
Holy shit, I'm going to be 53 in a couple weeks, dude. It's February 9th.
Yeah, so, I was out on my 10th birthday with my grandmother, who was just badass and supported my music freaked out habit that I had at a very young age. And I went and bought a Beatles album, and I kept looking at this album cover, and it was scaring the shit out of me because it just kind of gave me the creeps. But I couldn't take my eyes off it, and I bought it, and it turned out to be hotter than hell. So I brought that fucker home, put it on my little old-fashioned plastic record player, and lost my shit right away, and I've been a Kiss freak ever since.
Well, I got to tell you, Dave, you've been a Kiss fan longer than me. I discovered him at 13.
Well, I can tell you, dude, I'm lucky because the guy you're talking to right now, because the time I became a Kiss fan, I got to see Kiss. The first time I saw him was in Anaheim Stadium, August 20th, 76.
Oh, the historic Anaheim Kiss Destroys Anaheim show that's on video.
That's right. I saw all three of the Alive 2 shows at the Forum. I was there when they made the Magic Mountain thing. I was there for that.
Wow.
I was at the opening night of when I was down in Florida. I saw the opening night of the Dynasty Tour.
Lakeland, right?
Yeah, in Lakeland, Weenie Roast. Just a number of fucking shows, man, that are just absolutely historic shows now that I was lucky, coming into it when I did, to see the band when they were what they were, back in their fucking heyday in the 70s, man.
You got lucky, bro, because the first time I saw them was like Creatures, which is nothing to complain about, but still, I would have loved to see them in the glorious 70s, man. The Love Gun stage, you kidding me?
I know, man.
Oh,
I was there.
Man, I know, yeah. At, the Forum, you said, right?
That's right.
And some of that was recorded for Alive too, I think, right?
Yeah, that's the rumor. I mean, at least I still have my I Was There buttons from every night. And, actually the band ended up using a lot of my stuff. And I mean, you see the reprints of like the I Was There buttons and, and then the Magic Mountain tickets. Those were all taken from my scans that I gave them for different projects over the years. But in fact, I'm looking at one of my I Was There buttons from right here. But I don't know how much they actually used of those shows. There's a lot of stories about Alive 2 and how it really came to be. But hey, man, I'll just say the spirit of it was there, and I lived it.
Well, that and I always say this to everybody. I love enhanced live albums. I don't like 100% live albums. I like albums that were fixed up in the studio. I just think those albums sound better,
Well, dude, and you're right, because the thing to me is always about the magic, man. It's about the spirit of it, and it's not necessarily going to be 100% warts and all, because I think most people would, if they listen to that stuff, would go, that's fucked up, But if you listen to it, I don't care if they enhance it, man. If it gets my heart pumping, man, and gets me playing air guitar or whatever, it's perfect.
Yeah, and that's what gets me is like people if people didn't know it was enhanced, they'd love it more, But right. Since it was enhanced, I can't like it. It's like, people look too much into the backstory of albums instead of fucking judging it by the music. You know what I mean?
It's about how it makes you feel, man.
Exactly.
It's not it's the magic. It's the magic, and you're missing it if you get especially live albums, dude. I love live albums, but look, if people want to get into Kiss's use of studio enhancements, well, then you might as well wipe off virtually 99% of any live album that you listened to in the 70s when they were at their peak of popularity, because almost every one of them motherfuckers was enhanced.
I heard one of the most popular one, Peter Frampton Comes Alive, is very enhanced.
Yep.
And UFO, Stranger Than the Night, Judas Priest, Unleashed in the East, all amazing albums. And it's like, it was fixed up in the studio. Yeah, but they're awesome.
Yes, they are.
You know what I'm saying? So, Dave, anyway, did you stick with Kiss all through the 80s and the non-makeup years? You never gave up on them?
Never gave up on it, man. I have my moments, where you go, I'm just not feeling this album as much as maybe I was feeling Destroyer or Alive 2 or something. But the 80s were a tough time for them. I mean, to compete with AC/DCs and the Rushes of the world and the Ronnie James Dios and all those guys, it was a unique time. But I never gave up on them.
Same here, dude. I mean, I admit too, there's some of those albums in the 80s I didn't like at all, but I went to the Crazy Nights tour, and Hot in the Shade was amazing. The album's not good, but I mean, for me it's not good, but that show was fucking amazing,
It was. You know what? And I agree with you. I'm not a real big Hot in the Shade fan at all. There might be a couple things on there that I can still listen to on occasion, but it was that tour that I think started, that at least planted the seed for what was going to happen moving forward, especially moving into the reunion tour, because they started really digging back into their past, as they should have. All that great classic shit that they gave up on for the most part in the 80s. For some, let's be honest, there's some things that were playing live in the 80s that, fuck, if I never heard again for the rest of my life, it'd be a good day.
Yeah.
But, to hear things like Come On and Love Me and I Stole Your Love and things like that come back in the set list and Parasite and things, fuck yeah.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, they were digging back. That's all starting Hot in the Shade. Then Revenge, they brought out Watching You, and
yep.
It was just fucking great. It was a great time to be a Kiss fan, live, going to see them, because in the 80s, they were really avoiding a lot of the deeper tracks, You never heard like Deuce or Strutter or none of, at least I didn't when I went to go see, because I also saw every tour. Lick It Up, Animalize, Asylum, and Crazy Nights, all in the 80s. I saw all those tours, and they weren't really digging deep, They wouldn't even play fucking Dr. Love after fucking Lick It Up.
Well, think about it. A lot of those tours, I saw those same tours. A lot of those tours, what are they doing, 14 songs?
Yeah.
And then some solos, but then they're doing, hey, I know guys like this, but, Fits Like a Glove and Young and Wasted and the one that always just did me in was I Still Love You,
Right.
It might have been a good album track, but live I was like, come on, man.
I am so fucking with you, because I absolutely love that song, but live it annoyed the piss out of me. And don't get me wrong, I love Paul Stanley, but when he did those vocal gymnastics during that song, it was like, oh man, stop!
Stop.
Like, I just want to hear it on the record. You are so
That's
right,
me, man.
You are
that
so
was
right.
100% me, but I'm like, where's Deuce? What the fuck?
Yeah, and it's Parasite,
Yeah,
but then we got him,
It is what it is now, right?
But how excited were you when the reunion happened in '96?
Dude, you know what? It was really cool for me, man, because on a couple personal things. My wife, and we'll get into that in a minute. I'm sure we're talking about this box set thing, the vault. But, my wife was more of a, let's say, a Bowie fan, right? And I never really was until I met my wife, 30 years ago. But, she's a few years older than me, and she just kind of missed the Kiss boat, So when I was telling her about, me and my best friend that I had, growing up with, that was my other Kiss freak, he and I had the same birthday and everything. We went to all those shows, man. We stayed up all night to watch, Don Kirshner's, and we used to be those little nerds that used to take the Radio Shack tape recorder with the little shithouse plastic mic and put it up against the speaker on the TV so we can capture the audio, right? That was us. That was us. And to go to the Forum, especially those shows, for the Alive 2 thing, and we'd get there early in the day. Our parents would drop us off, we'd walk around the outside of that fucker like endlessly, right? Just trying to get a glimpse of anything and hear the sound checks and all that shit. It was all part of the fucking magic, man. And unfortunately, he had a heart attack and died right after those shows.
That, man.
Yeah, it was tragic, but, so, I would tell my wife these stories about, the things that he and I used to do, and in particular, I love a Kiss. And so when that reunion tour happened and we got the tickets to the Weenie Roast, man, when they came on stage, brother, my wife reached around, she grabbed my hand, and she put it on her arm, and she had chills. She had chills.
Wow.
And then a couple months later, we went to the Forum, and I'm kind of almost 20 years to the day, right?
Yeah.
Shit, dude, it was completely off the charts for me in a lot of different ways. But, my wife finally looked at me and she goes, you know what? I get it. I totally get this now. So, had they not done it, she probably wouldn't have got the opportunity, to see what I was seeing when I was my age and, when I was a kid. But, she gets it now, which is pretty badass. I got to share that with her too,
That's amazing, dude. Yeah, in '96 when that reunion happened, I have a friend in New York, and she worked at the time at a place where her boss owned skybox seats in Madison Square Garden, and she got 3 tickets for 3 nights out of 4. So I hopped on a plane, man. They were coming to Miami, but I was like, I can't wait. So I went to that Madison Square Garden show, and I got to tell you, man, those 3 shows in Madison Square Garden were like in my top 3 shows of all time. There was a magic in the air. New York City was all Kiss. Everywhere you went, it was Kiss everywhere. People in Kiss. I saw people in Kiss makeup in the Village, and
crazy, huh?
Yeah, it was just great. And then when they played Miami, it was an amazing. I'm not going to say it was a perfect 10 show, but it didn't have that certain magic that those New York nights had, and it was amazing. It was just an amazing time to be a Kiss fan, where they all came back. Spin magazine came out with all different covers. That's when I was in New York. And,
yeah, I have all those.
It was a craze, man. But okay, and then I guess we'll get into what everybody's been waiting for is the Vault.
Yeah.
It was in L.A., obviously, right? The one you went to?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I went to the L.A. one.
And that one had Ace, Eric, and Bruce.
Yep.
Wow. And how was that?
That was unbelievable, man, because, it was unexpected. My wife was supposed to go with me, but, she got that flu that was going around. So I ended up, at the last minute, fuck it. Obviously, I actually thought, once again, I'll throw props to my wife, but because she let me buy the damn thing. but I thought about changing it because I live in Las Vegas. So I thought about changing it, because I wanted my wife to go. And she's like, no, just go. You'll be fucking bouncing off the walls for the next month. That you don't have it, so just drive down there. I'm a big girl, you'll be fine. So I drove down there, man, and right out of the gate, pretty much, Keith, Gene's guy there, and Rhino, he came out and told everybody in line, before Gene got there, that Ace was going to be there, and then Tommy and not Tommy, but Bruce and Eric were going to be there. So right off the bat, that was the unexpected, thrill, I guess, the best way to put it, because as you and I both know, that was never advertised to be that way. So that was a shot in the arm that nobody saw coming. And I can tell you what, the energy level, which was already pretty palpable in line, even that time of morning, probably went up by 100.
Damn. Wow, that's awesome. I mean, look, I'm gonna be honest with you, Dave. I wasn't gonna do it. I wasn't gonna do the Vault experience. And it was literally 5 minutes from my house, a 5-minute drive. And I was like, nah. But, I was contemplating it. I was like, God, it's so close. It's so close. And then they announced Ace was going to be there. And thank God it wasn't like one of those L.A. things that I would have found out later Ace was going to be there. So I said, fuck it. When I saw that, I said, you know what? Fuck it. I got the money. It's not going to hurt me. And, I don't know if you've noticed this, Dave, but I put up a video where, you've seen the video where I show everybody what's in the vault. Man, did I get viciously attacked by a bunch of morons, man.
I saw it, yeah.
And I was kind of like, dude, I really went, not so much for the vault, but shit, I'll take the vault, don't get me wrong. But right. I didn't go so much for the vault. I go in because it's so fucking close to my house, and Ace and Gene, and I get to hang out with them all day. So that's the main reason I went. I'm telling you, I wouldn't have gone if they didn't announce Ace, and I would have regretted it because Ace ended up showing up. And I got to tell you, man, what a great time it was, man. It was an amazing time.
It was, and I know a lot of people, I've seen some comments, obviously a lot of comments from people that weren't there. Just like this thing yesterday or whatever, a couple of days ago with Gino, I forget his last name, but, the home experience guy, the executive producer guy and all that, people just eviscerating them because they're like, hey, they're phoning it in and, why don't they rehearse and practice and all this stuff. I get some of that, but you know what? What you don't get from those videos is the energy that's in the room between those two guys. And that's palpable when you're in the goddamn room with them. Right? And you see something that you and I and a lot of us thought we'd never see again, maybe in our lifetime, is Gene and Ace hanging out around each other, being together, hanging out with their fans for, as you know, pretty much all damn day,
Yep.
making themselves available, especially Mr. Fraley, and being approachable, all those things. But when they sat down together, dude, you can tell they still have respect and love for each other, and you ain't gonna get that from a fucking videotape. You're not.
I say it all the time. Look, there's even shows I've been to where I see it on YouTube and I'm like, wow, this doesn't sound as good as what I saw live. I've noticed that you can't experience a YouTube video. You can't really judge a show from a YouTube video.
No, not at all.
And yeah, a lot of people, but you know what? It's that just a lot of people like to bitch too. And, I would never spend money like that. It's like, well, dude, you're not me. It's like, it's not like, I'm broke now. Just between me and you, man, it didn't even come out of my pocket really because I'm in a band and it came out of my band's money, which, there's still more money in that PayPal, but I put in that, all that money I'll make back in 3 to 4 months, I'll make $2,000 back or maybe a little longer. But even if it was out of my pocket, I would have done it. But the main reason I did it was to experience that. And let me tell you, I haven't seen the Miami footage yet, even though I filmed it. And I haven't even seen my footage yet. But I guarantee it's not going to be as good as being there. And people just don't understand that. And people just want to bitch. And well, anyway, so how was the set when you saw it? Because I haven't even seen the LA shit yet. I saw pictures.
It was a little, it rough, not on necessarily on, and some people disagree with me, I guess. Again, those people that are in the peanut gallery that weren't there. But, I guess the guy that was, he was pretty much a young kid. He's not like you and I don't think he's a professional player, a gig and player. But they told him apparently ahead of time to tune down a full step, down to D. Right. And this guy went over and tuned everything up to standard A440. And so when they started playing Cold Gin, it was pretty obvious that Gene was on his top end, right? So they stopped a couple times and said, hey, man, where do you have these things tuned at? A440. And it was like, hey, man, we asked you to tune them down at least a half a step, if not a full step. So I think they, for a minute, because, they weren't playing top shelf stuff. I'll be honest with you. They were playing probably some shit guitars that were just laying around at Capitol somewhere that that they just loaned to those guys, but weren't like they were playing Gibsons or anything, right? So there was some technical shit that was going on there with the little PA system that they were giving them fits and but in between all of that though, man, what was cool was the banter between Ace and Gene. You could tell they weren't taking themselves seriously. They were busting each other's balls. They were taking the time between trying to unfuck everything with the equipment to make fun of each other and tell stories and things like that. And you could tell they were just enjoying the moment of being there when really up until that probably day or a week before that, they didn't even know they'd be there, right? So I got more out of that than I did their playing. But, they tried, I think, Watching You, Cold Gin. They screwed around with the David Bowie thing. I remember up the top of my head, like Ziggy Stardust or something. Goofed around with a little bit of a Stones tune. Just little bits and pieces. I think 2000 Man, Parasite was. They got through a lot of Parasite up top of my head. So all in all, dude, it was a freaking blast.
I hear you, man, and that's exactly you. Other than the songs, they did do Cold Gin, and they did She at Mine, but yeah, it was mostly Gene and Ace telling stories and really killer stories. I mean, the drunken Ace days and what they went through in Australia and the groupies and, it was a really cool experience and people asking questions. I don't know if this is what went on in yours, but in mine, when we walked in, I'm telling you, it wasn't even 15 minutes before Gene walked out and Ace wasn't there yet. So Gene sat down for a good hour and talked to us. He played My Uncle's a Raft. He played a couple Beatles songs. And he did I can't remember. I know he did a few songs, but it was mostly him taking questions from everybody. Ace wasn't awake yet. So then when he was done, he went to the back, to meet the first batch of people. And then he came back out with Ace. And then that was a good solid hour, maybe hour 15 of, again, them talking a lot. And and they played See You Tonight, which was cool. A little bit of Torpedo Girl.
They tried that too. Yeah,
that was cool. I was like, wow, cool. That's, I'm not even a fan of that song, but I was still like, wow, that's cool. Oh, and when and Gene played a little bit of She's So European when he was there alone too, which was cool. And but yeah, dude, it was fucking awesome. And so was there anybody else in the crowd other than them that were part of like the Kiss, crew of the old days, or it was just Bruce, Eric, and Ace?
It was Bruce, Eric, and Ace, and then at the very end, when Gene got up and was doing his, his storyteller part, they all got together and played. And shit, don't ask me what they played because I forgot. By that point in time, by that point of the night we were there, it was getting late, man. I mean, we got a full day out of it. Trust me.
So what time did it start?
You know what? We got there about 10. They opened the doors, give or take 10:30-ish, maybe a quarter to 11. Right after Gene got there, he got out of his car, which was cool because he drove up himself. He didn't have an entourage with him or anything like that. He got out of the car. He went down the line, greeted everybody. Gave everybody the fist bump. Was very personable and all that. And then as soon as he walked in, they opened the doors, and I think we got out of there. It had to be after 9:00 at night.
Wow, it was later than mine. I mean, I'm not sure because. Here's another question I got to ask you, because I was out of there by 6, and it was the same time. We got in about 10:30, but I left after I met Gene because they were. I asked the guy. I guess it was Dino. I asked him, "Hey, after this, is anything else happening?" No. All right. I had to go to work that night. The friend I took with me, he has kids and shit, and the wife is home alone with the kids, so I felt bad. All right, let's go. I had my fill. I'm content, So when Gene and Ace and Eric and Bruce went back after they jammed, did they come out again or they stayed
No,
back?
By that point in time, they basically said they had the room until 8:30 or something like that, so they had to call it a wrap. That's kind of what happened. They got up as a group. They played, the one little song, and Eric used a vault to play basically as a drum. And then they pretty much said goodnight to everybody, and then everybody pretty much from that moment knew that the room was done, and folks just kind of piled out of there and went about their way. So they really didn't mill any more than that. But shit, from before that, Eric and Bruce and Ace, when they all got there, they were there. They were pretty much in with the regular folk like us for the duration. They went in and visited with Gene a couple times, that kind of thing. Took some pictures of people that got the vault or whatever. But for the most part, though, man, they were really present. They were right there with everybody, and they milled around with everybody, and they didn't hide, and it was pretty cool.
That's awesome, man. So you met. When you did the meet and greet with Gene, that was before they all came out and jammed at the end?
Yes. I got there pretty early. I think I was like the third or fourth guy in line when I got there. So I didn't wait very long, to get back there, to see him. I think Julian Gill was standing right in front of me. So Julian went right before me, and there was a couple of VIPs I think that showed up. That they, I think, wedged between Julian and I, but not that big of a deal. I was pretty much in and out of there pretty quick.
Okay, so you didn't spend much time with Gene in there?
Oh, I did. No. I mean, as far as I didn't have to wait. I wasn't number 50. I didn't have to wait until because I got to tell you, there was people that were still going in to see Gene at like 7:30 at night.
Right. Yeah, I was one of the last people.
So I was one of the first, so I got to mill around and everything else. But no, Gene he was gracious with his time, man. I don't know about with you guys, but
yeah. I got. Hey, look, I got it satisfied. Here's what. Let me hear about your experience first, and then I'll tell you about mine.
No, it's cool. No, I mean he must have spent, and I didn't want to. I got to tell you, I've met and worked around Gene so much over the years. It's like I really didn't have a lot to talk to him about. I want to get my vault and all that, take my picture or whatever. But I think I spent 10 minutes talking to him,
Okay.
And I didn't feel rushed or anything. He didn't feel like that. He hugged me a couple times, and he wanted me to open my vault and see what was in the secret compartment and all that stuff. And I did all that, and he wanted to take pictures. You went to it, so but he was really cool, man. It was he seemed like he actually was engaged and he wanted to be there. It didn't seem like he was just kind of going through the motions like, hey, kid, get your picture and get the fuck out. It wasn't like that at all.
Right. And believe me, my experience with him was different, though I was one of the last people in line. He was tired. He even said at one point to Mark Weiss. Mark Weiss was there, right? The famous photographer. Was he there at that one?
Yeah, he was there. Yeah, I think he was there too. Yeah,
he said to Mark Weiss, he said, hey, man, can you get that AC off? Because I'm catching a cold here. He seemed kind of tired because it was at the end of the day. He seemed really like just out of it. But he did not disappoint us. He didn't want us to feel like, hey, man, look, I don't feel good. Hurry up. He took his time with us. He asked me questions. And at the end of this, when we finished talking, I did interview him. I had pages of interview. I didn't get to ask him all of them because I felt bad. And even at some point, he even said to us, there's people out there. But he said it in a way where it didn't seem like he was rushing us. But, because I was asking, and when you guys hear the questions, I might as well say this now. I had really great questions for Gene. And unfortunately, a lot of them he didn't remember. And that really shocked me because I thought Gene would have the memory of an elephant,
Right, like he does with horror movies, right?
With what?
Like he does with his horror movies, right? He remembers
exactly. He knows everything. So I asked him a bunch of questions that he didn't have an answer for, and I was really disappointed. But I was disappointed he didn't remember. I was like, damn, because if I would have got some of these answers, it would have been fucking, because there's these rumors, and I don't want to tell you now. I'll tell you off the air. That if he would have answered them, it would have been like, oh wow, that really happened, So stuff I've heard throughout the years, and then some he did answer, and then some he answered with three word answers because it was just his way of look. I'm going to answer you, but I'm tired. I want to get done with this. It was, but he. The way I can say it is he didn't want to express it to me, but it was obvious.
Right. So
I ended up saying, and I didn't even get to open my vault in front of him, which is unfortunate, because he said, all right, guys, thanks so much. He gave us a hand, but it was his way of saying, all right, let's take the pictures and get over with it. But in the nicest way he can. And then when I was about to leave, I grabbed the vault. I go, I didn't get the vault. And he looked at me with a very worried face, and he said to me, at home. It was like his way of saying, oh, come on, let's just get the next guy in here, And I really didn't feel bad about it. I don't feel like... I feel like the guy was under... Yeah, how old is he? 68, right?
Yeah, 68.
He's 68 years old. He's been there for about 8 hours, talking to an endless amount of people. And by the time he got to me... And here's another thing, too. He's very tired. And I've only met Gene once at the 95 convention where it wasn't really meeting him. It was just rushing up to the stage, and there's hundreds of people around me handing him albums. So I didn't really get to talk to him. I just handed him albums, and he signed it. So that was my meet. So this is the first time I got to meet him. So I went in there blah, 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 and he was kind of taken back a little bit, and he's kind of, answering my question. And even at one point I go, I got questions. He goes, can I sign stuff while you ask me the questions? Because he just wanted, And another thing that people understand, the interview is kind of brief, but believe me, we were there for almost 10 minutes before I even started the interview. So, and then he was kind enough to do IDs for my shows, and it was just, I walked out of there in a way I felt, wow, that was amazing. But at the same time, I felt a little bad that I was sapping his energy. You know what I mean?
Right.
But in the end, I was like, whatever. And, I opened my vault outside, and I got a sealed Elder cassette and some stickers. I wasn't like, oh man, this sucks. Even though I didn't like what I got, it wasn't why I went there. People keep going, you got ripped off, man. Look at all the crap you got. That's the only crap you got? And I'm like, yeah, but that's not really what I care about. That's not what I put 2,000 down for. You know what I mean?
And it's not. He said. Pretty much made it clear that was a bonus thing. It'd all be unique and it'd all be different. Fuck, even when he was showing some of the lead up teasers that they had out there, I mean, they were clearly showing things like license plates and hand drawn pictures from fans. My expectations going into that were not about what was in. Even though I was happy with what I got in my compartment, my expectations for what was going to be in that compartment were about down to almost zero. It was
and what did you get in the compartment?
I got a strap of his that he used from 1976 to 1978.
And he signed it, right?
He signed it. Yeah,
dude, that's an amazing thing to get. Actually,
yeah, he gave me the whole backstory. He goes, yeah, this is. It's unique. We made it out of this other thing because it was really comfortable on my back. So I used to rehearse with this because that fucking armor and everything else would beat the shit out of me. We were doing full dress rehearsals and blah, 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 blah. So, I mean, he gave me this whole dissertation on the history of it, But he was clearly happy about it, right? That was, hey, this is cool. And then he said, can I sign it? I'm like, of course you can sign it. So he signed it and, wanted to take a picture with it and all that. So, shit, of course, man. Like, I didn't expect that. I walked out there going, well, fuck, I got a strap. I'm not bitching, But if I hadn't gotten a strap and I would have gotten something else, I'd have been happy, man, because it was, like you said, it was the experience. And before I forget, I actually went back and looked at my text because I was texting with my wife. They played 2,000 Man as a group, the four of them at the end. And when I texted my wife, it was 8:22, and they just started playing it. So they wrapped right after that. So it was about 8:30, and they wrapped the night with 2,000 Man with Eric, Bruce, and Gene and Ace.
That's awesome. That is so fucking cool, man. Well, dude, and again, fuck the people out there that say shit. We both know what we went through. Do you feel ripped off in any way?
No, man, not one. Even if Ace hadn't have been there and the other guys hadn't have been there, there's no way. Look, man, and I'll just say this. I told Gene, I said, Gene, I've been around you a lot over the years. I was with you when you did your grand opening party for Simmons Records. I sat at your table and you did this, and this for me. And all over the years, you've seen me and my kids and blah, 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 blah. And I go, but let me tell you, it's something because I never crossed the boundary with you getting into the fan stuff. And I said, let me tell you a story. So I told him about my best friend that I told you about. And I said, the last thing we did before he passed away, the very last thing we did was listen to the Love Gun album. I go, and within hours, he was gone.
Wow.
And I said, I couldn't listen to that record, Gene, for 20 years until my wife convinced me to listen to it. And I said, and I said, then I got to work on the reissue. I go, and so I put the whole experience, kind of compartmentalize it. My wife said, you're going to be okay, working on any of that stuff and giving them things for that set. And I'm like, I'm happy to do it. I said, but Gene, when I got that knock on the door from the FedEx guy with the album and everything in there, I go, rifling through and I see my name in the credits. I go, you don't know what that meant to me. I go, dude, I just about passed out. I go, that was one of the most powerful and cool moments of not only my life, but of being a fan. And I said, as a matter of fact, I said, when I leave here, I said, my best friend's buried not too far from here. So I'm going to go by in the morning on my way home. I said, I'm going to play a little bit of this box set, this vault for him before I get out of town and go back to Las Vegas. And, dude, he shed a tear.
Damn, dude. That's so amazing, dude. I had no idea. I was going to get somebody on my podcast, Part of History,
I'm sorry, brother?
I had no idea that I was going to get somebody on my podcast that's actually part of history.
Well, and some small, my name is listed in, a few tour books and Kiss 40 and a few other things like that, but, my role, listen, I don't want to inflate it. I've just been very lucky to be in the right place at the right time and, and have some friends that, obviously work within the inner circle and those things. But, when somebody calls and asks you, hey, do you have any memorabilia or audio or anything like that these guys might, want to check out, and you start to share that stuff, and then the next thing you know, they're using that stuff. The little kid, the 14-year-old in me, loses my shit, right?
Yeah.
It's not about the money or anything else. It's about, wow, this is fucking cool. Right?
That's great, dude. I mean, I see it as a huge deal, dude. I mean, you get credited and you have all this stuff that they didn't have. I mean, and Gene is known to be a pack rat with Kiss stuff, so you must have a hell of a collection.
I do. I do. I'll just say that I do. So, had this video worked, I would give you a little tour of my room. I'd give Gene a run for his money on his office. I get a mini version of Gene, right? I don't live in the mansion, but I live in a pretty good sized house, and there's a room I have here that, dude, it's wall to wall. Kiss guitars, not the knockoffs, but original posters from the 70s, and magazines, and memorabilia, and books, and concert tickets, and all kinds of shit, right? So, and audio and video, things like that,
Well, Dave, I got to say, what an honor, man. I'm glad I got you out of everybody.
Well, listen, man, I've been a fan of yours, man.
Really?
I've played your shit for my wife because, dude, I love you, man.
Thank you, brother.
You're entertaining and you're honest. And I love that. I wish there was a whole hell of a lot more of you out there. Entertaining guy like me, I love it.
I really do appreciate it. Yeah, I know I get a lot of shit, and I don't. I said this, and I will say this again because I know a lot of people listen to me. Anybody that comes on the Almost Human page and disagrees with me, I welcome disagreement. But once you start throwing words, it's like it doesn't really offend me. It's more like, why do I want you here? Right. If you're gonna start throwing names at me, I'm like, you seem to be an inbred, so you should go. So And I want to say that to everybody out there. Come on my page and say you're wrong, I don't agree with you, and debate me all you want. That's fine. But once you start throwing names, you're scum to me. It's like, dude, I would never, ever, ever online call anybody anything because I was raised right. I wasn't raised by fucking poodles like these assholes.
Right. Bullies are bullies, man. And people are pretty interesting when they can hide behind a keyboard.
Yeah. That's the greatest part. These internet tough guys.
Yeah, they would never say to your face in a million years. Nope. They would never have the courage to say to your face. But, the thing, too, is like, wait a minute. Some of these people, who do you think you are? Yeah. My money is my fucking money.
Exactly.
I busted my ass my entire life to have what I have. I tell you, I don't go out and buy motorcycles. My friends do, and buy custom Harleys and all this other stuff, which is cool because that's your life. That's your money.
That's what you love. That's what you love. You love Harleys?
Yeah.
I'm not going to fucking go to you going, you're a moron for buying a Harley. I mean, fuck you,
Yeah, who gives a shit what I think, right?
Exactly.
It's his money, right? So if I want to spend $2,000 on a vault experience and then I want the music there, obviously, too, something I can keep, right? Then it's none of your goddamn business.
Exactly.
Be happy that somebody's happy. Don't be a miserable fuck just for the sake of being miserable, right?
Well said. And I got to say, Dave, most of the people on there are like you. They're very respectful. Even the people that disagree are respectful. They're cool fucking people, man.
Right.
And I like people that disagree with me. I have no problem with disagreement. But if you're just like, one guy had the audacity to say to me, where the hell are you going to put that thing? I mean, I was like, dude, maybe you live in a shoebox, but I don't, It's like, it's not my fault you ain't got no money. It's like, well, Gene is greedy. Well, you're cheap. If you can't focus.
You know what? Here's a comparison. One thing you can say, hey, look, here's what I can do. If I ever lose my house, I got a place to live. I'll just move into the vault, okay? And then I said, but you know what? Maybe Gene's greedy, but he ain't unlike a lot of other people right now doing this. Fuck. Ozzy Osbourne's charging $2,200, folks. $2,200 American for a simple meet and greet now.
Right.
You don't get shit other than you get to go backstage and meet him, which is great. If that's your hero and you want to go hug him and you want to take a picture, you want to ask, good for you.
Exactly.
That's your business. But with this, at least I get to take this home with me, and I got to spend 8 hours around the guy.
Exactly. Right? Yeah, it's not like a meet and greet. You spend quality time because I met Ozzy, by the way, in 2010. I spent really 2000 because my girlfriend at the time, she was the biggest Ozzy fan, and so am I. And
I'm a huge Ozzy fan. Yes.
And I for Christmas I bought her a meet and greet, and I bought one for myself. And it was kind of a cattle call. I got to talk to him for about maybe 3 minutes, but it's one of those things. You go up to him, ask a couple questions, turn around, take a picture, and you're out of there. Not this. Yeah, exactly.
Sharing the dog shit.
But here you get to spend time in a room with them. And like you were saying, you could have spent more time, but you were like, all right, Gene, I ain't going to take too much of your time. I'm going to leave, I was kind of different. I was like, blah, 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 blah. I was like, But still, when he gave us the, all right, guys, I was like, yeah, let's get the fuck out of here. I don't want to, upset the dude because this was such a great experience,
It is. And, and again, I mean, I know it's apples and oranges, but people want to make this, they just want to paint one guy. And yeah, there's a lot of it deserved. Yes. Because, let's be honest, Kiss toilet paper and condoms and caskets and everything. Yeah. Oh my. Right.
Yeah.
But, to that end though, hey, if you in today's world, a lot of these guys are getting ready to retire. Ozzy being one of those, and a lot of other folks talking about doing the same thing. Hey, man, I'll take this one thing. I guess maybe this will lead us somewhere, but I think I did the math. And his entire recorded history with Kiss and as a solo artist on his 2 solo albums, as a co-writer and a writer, he's done just shy of 125 songs in his entire 40-plus year career with Kiss. There's 166 fucking songs in here, man.
Wow, you see, I never looked at it that way. So there's actually more songs in the vault than on all Kiss albums.
Yes, of Gene. So even though some of it, of course, is representative of demos of, Christine 16 and Have Love Will Travel and all that stuff, that's cool stuff we've talked about and thought about as fans and collectors for years. But again, that gets to the tactile here. It's not just a meet and greet experience, man. I get to come home with 166 songs, never mind the packaging, but 166 songs I get to keep for the rest of my natural life, and I get to listen to and enjoy and digest more fucking songs than he's done in his entire recorded history with Kiss. Yeah. Shit, that's a win to me, man.
To me, it is too. And I'll say something else about what you just said, and I'm going to be 100% honest. I actually thought. This is not going to be a good box set music-wise. I think they're throwaway songs, 150 songs. Maybe I'll find, if I'm lucky, an album's worth of good stuff. Dave, I've sat through the whole fucking thing. I am shocked how much good shit's on there.
Me too.
I am shocked. I mean, there's some songs, what I would expect, but I am shocked that how many amazing Legends Never Die. I mean, I love the Wow album, and hearing Gene do it, I was like, dude, this is even better. And I loved Got Love for Sale. I loved
Eddie's actual. I mean, you listen to Eddie Van Halen play that solo, right? That's the one song of the 3 where he actually opens up to where he sounds like
Eddie Van Halen. Yep.
Right. I mean, his tone, the whole, the phaser thing going on, the whole thing. It's really reminiscent of, I mean, of course, it doesn't sound like the Van Halen 1 album. It doesn't sound like the freaking Zero demos or any of that shit that you and I have, right? That we've heard a million times. It's raw. Let's be honest. It's raw. But there's the spirit of Eddie Van Halen is there, man, and it's just fucking magic to me.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, dude, it's that and that alone. I mean, we've been hearing about this Van Halen recording since '95. He brought it up at the Miami convention down here, and I was like, oh my God, because it was originally supposed to be on the Kiss box set, but, legal bullshit. And I don't know, do you know the story behind how he finally got to release it?
Yeah, because I know it was talked about a couple times, and I can tell you when Love Gun reissue was getting worked on, I know there was at least one friend of mine who also worked with Eddie Van Halen, had reached out to Eddie and asked and made the inquiry, and of course there was reluctance, because look, what people don't understand is Eddie's not a session guy, right? He's just not, listen, I'm not knocking J.R. Smalling, his playing drums. Eddie Van Halen's in a whole different stratosphere than if it were you and I playing on Gene's track. Yeah. You and I both know that just by virtue of his name, there's marketing and people are going to buy it that are Van Halen fans that would never have bought that stuff, right? And they're not stupid to that, but they wanted. I know they wanted some compensation for it, and I think what ultimately happened is Gene decided that this go around he wanted them out too, so he gave them back their master tapes, all the demos that Gene had done.
That's exactly what happened. Yep.
And they found it's basically a quid pro quo, this for that. They found an amenable solution that they could both live with, and Eddie and his camp got what they wanted. They got something of value, and Gene got something of value for it's a business deal, and it finally made it happen. And God bless them all, man, because I've been wanting to hear that shit since we were, like you said. So when we first started hearing about it back in the day, right?
Yeah. It was. I was, when I heard at the convention, I mean, the whole fucking place went woo, and then it ended up not happening, and I was like, oh fuck, and then this came, and like I said, I wasn't gonna go, but I was like, man, I can't wait till this gets leaked. But dude, this shit's been so tightly, protected that it's never been leaked. It still hasn't been leaked.
But, going back to the quality of this stuff, again, I kind of planted the seed with you, early in the conversation about my wife and her musical taste, right?
Right.
So I started listening to this stuff. Of course, I was listening to it on the drive down. I brought my computer, my laptop with me. So when I got to my hotel in L.A., of course, I backed everything up, right? So I made my own disc, for the ride home, because I don't want to, scratch the originals, right? So, I'm already getting it. I'm like, wow, this is fucking cool. This is a lot cooler than I thought. So I'm listening to it at home, and my wife comes in one day. She's like, what are you listening to? I go, this is Gene. She goes, this is Gene Simmons? She goes, if I would have known, if I'd have never known who Gene Simmons was, she goes, and just listening to some of these songs, I would be a huge Gene Simmons fan. If this stuff came out when I was growing up, she goes, I would be as big as Gene Simmons fan as a David Bowie fan. And, to her to say that, dude, I'm telling you, man, she tolerates my being a fan. But, from somebody who really doesn't have a dog in the fight, so to speak, to come in and give it that level of sincere, there's some great shit on there.
Oh yeah, a lot. I mean, a lot
of shit. And going back to he's got songs on, that you could probably tell him up top of your head that he actually gives that nod, his influences to guys like David Bowie, clearly on there, right?
Yep. Yeah.
And you can tell why they would never put on a Kiss album probably, but they fit on this box set and they stand out on their own, and they're great songs.
Oh yeah, Hand of Fate. That got me, man. I was like, wow, this is a great fucking song.
It is.
And the song he did with Vinny during the Creatures era, you can totally understand why that didn't make it. I Want to Live. That didn't make it on Creatures of the Night because it doesn't fit the album at all. It's a great fucking song, though.
I just listened to it today. All I could say is anybody that's on the fence out there, you got to really compartmentalize certain things. Yeah, it's a lot of money. Yes, you agree with that. But you just really can't bottle and quantify the value of the experience itself. You're never going to discern that from a YouTube video. It's something you have to personally experience. And Gene is right. It's something like this is really, and I'm not trying to be the sales guy, but I believe it from having personal experience now that it's an experience. It is truly an experience, and you can't just I guess dismiss that out of hand and say that's not worth anything, because he proved to me that it was worth something. And then the music, I got to tell you, I'm with you. There's some songs on there I go, nah. But overwhelmingly, though, there's a lot of stuff on there I think is fucking top shelf, kick-ass, great stuff that shows all different sides of this guy's personality. And you know what? I appreciate it for that. I don't want 100 different versions of Calling Dr. Love.
Right.
I see this guy as a writer and as an artist, and it comes through in that box set. And I'll give it to him. He pulled it off. By and large, he pulled it off.
Exactly. And again, I got to stress, it's like you're sitting down, you're eating a hamburger, and you're like, wow, this hamburger tastes good. And somebody comes up to you and says, that hamburger tastes like shit. It's like, fuck you. You're not the one eating it.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's what I got to say to everybody out there. Oh, you got ripped off. You have no idea who you're talking to, pal. You have just no fucking idea. You're clueless. I would never do that. Well, you're not a big Gene fan like I am or Dave is, Right. We get off on this shit. I thought it was fucking amazing. I don't regret it. I thought, shit, I would have thrown another $1,000. I thought it was that good.
And that's the point. It's not for everybody. It's like this. I mean, I have one of my sons is married, and I love his in-laws. We're all friends, but dude, they went out and they bought a top of the line. They had to have it. It's Tesla. They pre-ordered, did the whole down payment, had to wait for it. Dude, you know what? Is it a car that I would buy? No. Am I going to spend that kind of money on a car? No. I could buy 3 or 4 cars for what they pay for that car. That's me, though. I'm not driving the goddamn car, and I'm not the one making the payment. If it makes them happy, then God bless them.
That's my point. Your son is loving it,
Right. What's like, to me, it's like, hey, man, that's your thing. That's, whatever you have a passion for, as long as it's moral and you're not hurting anybody, right? And you're still taking care of your bills and taking care of your family, whatever your circumstances are. Hey, man, good for you. You know what? But don't judge me because or throw me under the bus and go, you're a dumbass because you gave Gene $2,000 more of your money. It's
it's my money.
I'm going to judge you. You don't judge me. I guess it comes down to that.
You know, it's my money. You know, you're going to sit there going, "Oh, Gene's greedy." Yeah, and you don't play the lotto. Give me a break. And if you can make that money Gene can make, you do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
People are just hypocrites out there. So fuck them all. And I hope you're listening, you fucking hypocrites. And again, I delete everybody that throws out any fucking like disparaging remark on me, like, you know, because I'm not a moron. You're the actual moron, and you're my bitch because I just put up a YouTube video. You come to me, bitch. I didn't ask you to come to me. You come to me. You say something stupid. I'm like, wow, your parents are stupid for raising you, so let me delete you. You know what I mean? You got shitty parents.
Right. You stand at the feet of the God of Thunder.
Exactly, you know?
Kiss my boot, mother. Yeah.
Speaking of that, what did you have him sign on your box set? What lyric?
You know what? I wasn't even worried about that. He asked me. I'm like, whatever you want to put on there, man. I said to you what I finally wanted to say to you for all these years, and you know, hey, I don't care if you put a hash mark on there, but he just basically said, hey, Dave, as always, you rock, and then Gene or something like that. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I asked him to put two-fisted till the very end.
Hey, but I like what'd you put on there?
Two-fisted till the very end.
Oh, yeah. See, that'll work.
Yeah. I thought about it, you know, because I saw people walking out, I am the Lord of the Wasteland, God gave rock and roll to you, stuff like that. And I'm like, one guy even got, I want to put my log in your fireplace.
Oh, no. Hey, how about let your backbone slip?
Yeah, there you go, from the new album. But, yeah, I was like, two-fisted. And you know what was funny was when I told him that, he kind of smirked a little bit like, I don't think anybody asked him that one yet.
Well, dude, that was clever. That was smart. And it's true.
Yeah, and it came to me at the actual experience. I was like, damn, what am I going to have him sign? First I thought Heavy Metal Accident. I go, no. Then I thought of Two-Fisted till the very end. I go, dude, that's kind of like how I live my life. You know, I'm kind of like, you know, I'm this dude that lives by my own rules. I worked a lot of shitty jobs, Dave, all my life because I refused to cut my hair. But I was Two-Fisted till the very end, and now I got a really good cushy city job with benefits, pension, medical, everything, because the bottom line is you face life with two fists, and the key, and this is how I was raised by my parents, you never ever take anything that's not yours. You never fuck anybody over. You live your life honestly. You pay your fucking bills. You find fucking... I found a wallet once. This was back in 1990. $200 in the wallet. What did I do? There was a license in there. I put it in an envelope. I sent it to the guy. I never got a penny back. But, Dave, I'll tell you what happened after that. I lost my wallet about 5 years ago. And this girl, beautiful girl, came to my door with my wallet. So that's how I got my payment back. You know what I mean?
That's karma, man. That's great karma.
It's great karma. You know, and believe me, man, if you live your life like that and you don't go to people and call them stupid names online, you know, just respect. That's the main thing. That's how I was raised. Respect people. Treat people as they treat you. You treat me like shit, I'll be even shittier to you. You know, that's just the way it is, you know, so, you know, and, but hey, man, this is a great, dude, I'm so glad you did this. You're fucking awesome, bro.
I appreciate that, man. The feeling's mutual, brother. But you know what? Here it comes down to this. When you have a mutual passion for something and it's legitimate, right? That's the power of music, right? You know, you have a passion for it, like obviously you and I both do. You know, it's been our lives forever. That's something you can't fake. It's in your DNA, right? And people connect like that. And that goes to, again, that's the power of great things. You know, like, again, it's a little side thing about this Vault project that, you know, people don't, you know, maybe haven't even thought about. But, hey, man, if it makes friends out of people and things like this happen, well, that's another positive, man. And that's something that really put a dollar figure on that one.
Exactly. It's priceless.
Perfect.
It's goddamn priceless. Well, thank you so much, Dave. This has been a great episode. Man, better than I thought it was going to go because I had no idea I had somebody that was actually credited on Kiss stuff out there. That's really fucking cool. And again, I know it's been a while, but it doesn't matter how long it's been. My deepest condolences to your buddy.
I appreciate that,
and
man.
what was his name?
Tony,
man. Rest in peace, Tony, man.
I appreciate that. I did go by and see him and sat down there and played a couple of things like Calling Dr. Love demo, I think, and Have Love What Got Love for Sale, and had a smile and said, "There you go, brother." And and it was a great thing, and she had every day of my life, dude. I walk into my Kiss room and I look at some of the things that he and I collected and bought that are in this very room. I go, "That's right, brother. He's still my brother, So, and I'll carry that on until I take my last breath."
That's right. He lives on with you, dude. That's the thing.
Right.
His memory will live on, So that's the main thing.
If you ever want to do another one of these, you let me know. We can talk about anything from Magic Mountain shows to the LA Forum shows to any of those things over Kissery you want to talk about. And I lived them from what I can remember. I'd be happy to share with you all the time, man.
I'm telling you this right now, Dave. As far as Vieira Vault, if ever there's a future there will be Kiss episodes. I want you there.
Well, consider me. I'm retired now, so this is what I do.
Awesome, dude. Wow, retired already, huh? You're like my brother.
Yeah. I just retired back in April, and so my wife and I just been spending a lot of our time traveling the world, man, and playing a lot of guitar and traveling the world.
Killer, brother, and hopefully you won't travel the world when my band plays Las Vegas eventually, because I would love to. I'll get you on the list, man.
All right, brother. Listen, no, I'll pay, because you know what it's about. It's about supporting.
Well, I appreciate that, brother. Okay, you pay, you get free T-shirts and CDs. Either way, you're going away with something free from me for taking the time to do this for me, because I really do appreciate it. This has been a kick-ass episode, much better than I thought it was going to go. Not that I thought you were going to suck, but I didn't know you were fucking so in the inside either,
Well, you know what? I wouldn't even go that far. I'm just saying I'm very, very blessed to have some good friends that have looked out for me and know I'm a fan and help me contribute in some way where I go, you know what? I don't know, man. It's just something about seeing your name on the Kiss album liner notes that I can't even begin to tell you how badass that is.
No,
I'm just humbled by it, and I'm grateful for it.
I can imagine. Dude, Dave, I can't thank you enough, brother, for being on the Vieira Vault. By the way, don't sue me, Gene. The Vieira Vault's been around longer before you announced your Gene Simmons Vault, Again, Dave, we will do this again. Thank you so much, brother.
All right, thank you too, brother.
All right, brother.
All right, bye.
Man, what a cool dude that Dave guy is. Wow, man. He was at the Magic Mountain show and the LA Forum and Anaheim. Holy crap, man. And credited on I hit the lotto, man, looking for somebody. I had no idea he was going to be this fucking awesome. And a cool dude, you can tell, man. Guy's got a cool personality. And I do want to say a couple things, too. I want to thank this guy called Nigel that I met at the convention. It would have been, now in an afterthought, it would have been great to have him on the show. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. Sorry, Nigel. It would have been cool to have you here. He was a really cool dude. His dad was awesome. And I also met at the Gene Simmons Vault, which I forgot to mention, was the lady that did their costumes all the way from 1973 all the way up to Lick It Up. Her name was Maria. I can't remember her last name now. I know it starts with a C. And she was sweet. She was so nice. And there was a lot of other people there, that I rubbed elbows with that were really cool. And the people that ran the vault, the people that worked for Gene, really did a great job. There was free beer, free food. It was awesome. Okay, now let me wipe my shoes and let's go into the vault. So now, what y'all been waiting for, and let me set this up. I spent a good 10 minutes with Gene before this interview ever took place. So I pressed record after, he greeted us and we got to talk about other stuff, before I got to interview him. So, as I said earlier, what you heard was he was tired. We were one of the last people in line, but, and I can tell. He even said he was coming down with a cold, but he hung. He said, fuck it, these guys paid, and I am not going to let them down. So, even though he said, okay, guys, got to go, believe me, it may, I don't know if it'll sound rude to anybody. It doesn't sound rude to me. You had to be in that room to understand. Dude, he just spent almost 20 minutes with us. So, and there were still more people he had to meet. He wasn't feeling good. And another thing that I forgot to mention, too, if you listen closely to the background while I'm interviewing him, the song you hear in the background is from Ace Frehley's new album. And it's the song he co-wrote with Ace Frehley called Your Wish Is My Command. I know you can't make it out that good, But I could tell you, being in the room, the shit sounds finished. So I don't know. Maybe he's got more songs to record, and there's no release date for it. But I can tell you, what I heard didn't sound like no demo. It sounded like a finished product. So listen closely to the background. You can hear the song that Ace and Gene did together. So here it is, an exclusive Vieira Vault interview with Gene Simmons. It's an honor. I have a bunch of questions, if you don't mind.
Sure.
My first question is,
Yeah.
on the Lick It Up tour, on the very first show of the Lick It Up show,
Yeah. I'm listening.
is it true that you spit blood without makeup on the first show?
The God's honest truth is I don't. I might have. I don't know.
Okay. And that was professionally shot, the first show.
Can't tell you.
Because it was on, some of it was on the Kissology. And I don't know if anything was, if it was a full show or not.
No idea.
No idea?
It's been a long time ago.
So you wouldn't know if there's any like pro shots of the Asylum show?
I just don't recall. It's been 44 years.
Right.
I don't
Okay.
recall. I wish I did.
Okay.
Not being evasive on purpose.
Right. Well, I got old school questions, so you're probably not going to remember this either. The footage of Thrills in the Night, the video that was shot for that, which was a concept video, why wasn't that ever released?
We thought it sucked.
Okay. And that footage is gone?
No, we have everything.
Oh, okay. So it'll never see the light of day, though.
Who knows? What should I personalize this?
To Ralph?
To Ralph.
Yes.
Yeah.
And two-fisted till the very end. One of my favorite lines.
Ace is playing this new record.
Oh, is he? What? Oh, it's done already?
What?
I have one, Gene.
Who knows?
I have a new one.
A new one.
Okay, favorite Kiss album?
Either Destroyer or Revenge.
Least favorite?
Unmasked.
Favorite song? Kiss song?
This is one that Ace and I wrote.
Oh, this is the one you guys were talking about outside? Mm-hmm. Where were you when John Lennon was killed? Do you remember?
In bed with Cher.
Okay. Is it true that you did invite Vinnie Vincent to Nashville?
I did.
Okay, so he'll be at the vault. On what track, if you can remember this, on your solo album, was Lassie on?
Didn't make it.
Oh, because Lassie's credited.
Didn't make it.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't make that. You have any interesting stories about Bon Scott? Because I know they toured with
Yeah,
AC/DC.
I do. But if I do this podcast, the rest of the folks out there will kill you.
Then, okay, so you're not answering that.
It's not fair.
It's not a flattering story for Bon. Like any good
Well,
stories
it's neither good nor bad. It just is. But he's gone, so there's no reason to do that.
Okay, because I'm a big fan.
I am too.
Did you ever have
You're
an
not
accident?
listening to the idea that they want to come in too.
No, I'm done.
Yes.
This is it.
What were you gonna
This
say?
was all my
Yes.
questions. Oh wait.
Maybe not.
Oh no. Okay, I just want to say one last thing. We are both Cuban-blooded, and we know how much you appreciate America. And I just wanted to let you know that my father came here at 17 years old because he knew Castro was going to turn communist. You know how he tricked the people. And he
Sure
came
did.
here. We moved to Tarrytown, New York, which is upstate New York. And when I was born, he raised me to learn English first. And I know how you keep saying about learn the language here.
Well, only for one reason. It's not cultural, it's just pragmatic. If you learn to speak, the better you speak English, the more money you make. You don't have to. You can stick with your... English is my fourth language. I don't
Right.
have a thing about English. It just makes more money. You can't answer the phone at IBM and go, hello, what's your name? They're not going to give you a job. Why? Just because you don't speak English well? Yeah, that's right.
Right.
So you can learn, you can speak Serbian all your life and drop dead before you ever learn a word of English. You won't make as much money.
Well, I just want to let you know my dad came here, was a gardener for many years, bought property on South Beach, retired now. And I work for
God bless America.
I work for
Try to work the same thing and do that in Cuba. I don't think so.
It won't happen.
Yeah.
That's why it drives me crazy when I see anybody with a chest shirt.
Let me get one in. Gene, of all the bands that you helped and signed to your label and, basically nurtured, who do you think had the most promise? Keel, Black and Blue, Easy O, House of Lords?
The band that I signed that clearly had the most promise was Van Halen.
Oh, well, that, of course.
I mean, but they had the musical goods.
Yeah. But I mean, of the other, the second...
The other bands were, C-level bands. Very few bands have their own style, their own songwriting approach, their own guitar approach. Very few. AC/DC is unique.
Yeah.
Metallica is unique. The Beatles are unique. You know what I mean? They have their. As soon as you hear it, you go, "Oh, that's that."
They stand out. Yeah.
A lot of bands sound like, "Oh, that's guitars."
And I thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure. I hope.
Wonderful day.
I hope day's going good for you, and I hope everybody's treating you well.
Yes, it was well worth it.
Bunch of those songs. I mean, here, and I'm like,
Let's do a quick photo.
these need to be on.
Okay.
Quick photo and then.
And Gene, I noticed this floor is clean. Would you mind sticking out your tongue for this photo?
You got to do me a favor and turn the air off because I'm catching a cold. That'll kill everything.
There we go.
Kind of cool, isn't it, everything?
Love it. Can't wait to see what I got. I'm hoping it's your Rolex. Take care.
Okay, boys.
Well, there you have it. The Gene Simmons Vieira Vault interview. All right, he didn't remember some of it. He did answer some of it. Unmasked is his least favorite album. Hey, I got something out of him. And I hope you'd enjoyed it as much as I did. I really got a kick out of that interview. I thought I asked questions nobody fucking ever asked Gene before. I've never heard those questions asked to him before. And unfortunately, he doesn't remember. That sucks. But anyway, everything else fucking ruled about it. And now let's go into the plugs and then I'll come back to say my goodbyes. I am Dr. Fuck.
And I'm the Ayatollah Alcoholic.
And we are part of the Rock and Metal Combat Podcast.
We are the Rock and Metal Combat Podcast.
That's right. And the way you can check us out is we are on iTunes and also Podbean. And we forgot a review recently. I got this review right here. It says Rock and Metal Combat Podcast is the greatest podcast in the world, and it's my number one podcast, signed by Science. Now, and then Science also says... Science also said, my second favorite podcast is It Doesn't Matter, the rest suck. Rock and Metal Combat Podcast on iTunes and Podbean. Check it out.
Science!
Tired of your long commute and boring workday? Well, join Brian Davis and his gang of movie buffs as they talk about a different movie subject every week on Damn Good Movie Memories. We discuss movie themes like our favorite movie villains, favorite soundtracks, and worst movie remakes, and much more. Check us out on iTunes and Podbean at damngoodmoviememories.podbean.com.
Hey, rock music fans, this is Terrence Reardon of the Terrence Reardon and Friends Audiovisual Podcast. Join yours truly as I look every week at a different classic rock or metal album that had a major impact on my life, and I'm usually joined by a friend or two or 10, and we talk about nothing but great classic rock and metal. And there's no country or Sammy Hagar or rap on the fucking show. That shit is frowned upon with yours truly. So if you want a great classic rock audiovisual podcast, tune on in to the Terrence Reardon and Friends Audiovisual Podcast. New episodes every Monday, exclusively on YouTube.
All right, this is the Ayatollah of Alcoholic, Ian Wadley, and I want you to listen to my brand new radio show, Wadzilla World, where I cover every era of fucking music that I like. And a few that you like too. Check me out every Saturday 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Central Standard Time on Soundphoria.com. I'll see you there.
Hey everybody, I'm Aaron.
And I'm Chris.
And we're from the Decibel Geek Podcast. And if you love this...
then you'll love us.
That's right. Brand new episode every single Monday. You can find us on iTunes and at decibelgeek.com. And the best thing is, it's rock and roll and it's always free.
Hey, headbangers, you want your own radio show? Well, you got it. On Thursday nights here on that metal station, join me on the Dr. Fuck Show. Go in the chat room and I will make you my co-host. That's right. Everybody that joins me in the chat room, I discuss whatever you guys want to talk about. I'll mention your name, I'll say what you say, and we're going to go back and forth. And I'll even fucking play whatever request you want. Unless it sucks. Then I ain't playing it because my show rules, and only songs that rule is allowed right here on that metal station. The Dr. Fuck Show airs live Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern. Then they repeat it on Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern. Hope to see you there. Well, no, fuck that hope. I better see you there, motherfucker.
From New York.
Hey, what up, bangers? From North Carolina,
Skitter Pal Meow Meow.
this is Bushy.
And the Mountain Man. Tune in every week for your listening pleasure only on The Plug with Bushy and the Mountain Man. You can find us on Podbean and iTunes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, everybody, for checking out my review, and a very special thank you to Dave O'Leary for being part of it. He rules, and he will be back. Whenever there's a Kiss episode on a VR Vault, expect Dave here. All right, so I'm saying my goodbyes, and the last thing I want to say is something I thought of the other day. I think it's fucking genius. Winners are losers who don't give up. Goodbye.